Are you a prepper or homesteader looking to connect with like-minded people in your area? Looking to start your own preparedness group? Already have a group? Well, look no further than PrepperNet. PrepperNet is dedicated to personal responsibility, individual freedoms, and being self-reliant. PrepperNet has monthly meetings in over 100 cities where you can meet and learn with like-minded people in your area. PrepperNet, where preppers unite. Find us online at preppernet.com.
Ready?
Survive, thrive, stay alive. It's time to get prepared with the Prepping Academy podcast.
All right. Good evening, good morning, good day, everyone. This is Forrest. Welcome to the Prepping Academy podcast. I'm here in the house with Uncle Buck. How you doing?
Good, man. Good. It's been a little bit since we've been able to throw something down, but it's been good.
Couple weeks.
Got to be here. Couple weeks.
Yeah. So yeah, man. So how you been doing? I mean, what is going on with? Are you yawning?
No. I'm not yawning. I'm not I'm very focused. I'm very focused now. Then.
Okay.
I bit my side of my cheek. That's what it was.
Okay.
But no, been pretty busy. I think I told you I did that. It's called 3 of 7 with a guy named Chad Wright.
3 of 7.
Yeah, it's called the 3 of 7 project. It's essentially a guy named Chad Wright. So I finished that up like a couple weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago. Smoked me. So what that is and we'll talk a lot more about that, but just did that. And then, I had to do some recovery time on that as well. Started 75 hard. I officially started that today. So I got through my 2 workouts, got my gallon of water in. I'll explain what that is as well. And that, a physical fitness, but yeah, man, just trying to get after it, man. Like I got to get dialed back in.
And this goes in with a new job that you've been doing. And yeah. I mean, you're the busiest man I know.
It's not fun. It's not fun right now. It's ramp up time. You got to learn things and, try to balance it out as best as possible, but it's good. I mean, it's all good.
That's awesome. Yeah. Last time I saw you was at the Charlotte meetup.
Yeah.
And, and that was surprising you were there. Then we had a surprise guest just show up as well.
My special, what does Sheepdog call him? He's like your mentally challenged friend or your special friend.
Yes, and I think you were surprised.
Oh, yeah.
I was surprised.
Yeah, I wasn't anticipating seeing him there. He was doing some work somewhere in the area, and and him and Sheepdog, they know each other. They're in the same industry, so they do a lot. of
that's right,
engineering type stuff together.
Yep, but yeah, that he surprised everyone, and I mean he was just. When I say surprised, he's not from these parts. He's not from the Charlotte area.
Nope.
So yeah, that was. Sheepdog was teaching that night too. So yeah, that was a good night seeing you there.
Yeah, learning about water filtration, all good stuff. I mean, it's really good stuff.
Everything about water. Yep. So, last week I know that you missed this, but we did a whole week on bug out bags.
I saw that. That's pretty.
It's just like Shark Week, but without the sharks.
Mm-hmm.
But that went very well. Sheepdog taught that.
What was the biggest lesson learned coming out of that? Like when you had to dress down your bug out bag or your get home bag, like what was the aha moment for folks or for you?
Well, for me, the reason I scheduled this because I knew I needed to go through my bag. It's been a while. And as I was telling you before we started this, that I was finding things in my bag and I'm like, why is this in here? I've got let's just say it was a flashlight. I got a cheap, terrible flashlight in there. And I have a better one I've purchased since I built my bug out bag. And I kept going through my bag. I bet I took out 30 pounds because I got a better tarp.
How heavy was it initially?
It was around probably, it was too heavy.
Okay. Okay.
It was very heavy. It was probably around 60 pounds, I would think. I probably
Okay.
cut it in half, I would say, because like I had a canvas tarp,
Mhm.
and now I have the tarps that you have that are real thin.
Yep.
They're made for camping. They're lightweight. And so that totally was different. I have a different axe. I have a different saw. I have a silky saw.
Yeah.
I had this other saw that was just very large and heavy. And so I built my bag probably 2 years ago, and I haven't had time or I guess the sense to go through my bag.
Mhm.
But every time I was finding something, I'm like, oh my gosh. And I had a pile, and I'm like, I was amazed how much I took out. I was quite happy. Now I went through my bug out bag. I also went through my everyday bag, my everyday carry bag, and my get home bags. So I went through really all three of them. And man, I've got them almost to where I want them.
Okay. Nice.
I'm missing I want a military style poncho, for they can be a tarp and rain gear. I'm missing. I don't know where mine went. I had one that old Groucho up in the mountains of North Carolina. He has a store, like a army surplus store.
Yeah. Army Navy surplus. Yeah.
Yeah, and I bought one from him, and I can't find it. I don't know if it's in one of my kids' bags. I didn't go through I was afraid I didn't want to go down that hole.
You know what's in there.
I mean, I was down in a hole, but I didn't want to open up new tunnels going in my kids' and families' bags at this time. So, what else was I missing? I was missing a few things, and I put different food like in my get home bag.
Yeah.
I had these big, a lot of food. And, I was listening to some people, and they said, if you can't get home in 3 days, your get home bag is really a bug out bag.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't need these very nice meals and everything. So I put more bars and like an MRE in there instead of having, 10 bags of Mountain House in there. So
I heard about, I was doing the Zello night call, and we were talking, different scenarios. And somebody brought up on freeze-dried food, and they're like, oh, there's this bougie place that you can get freeze-dried lobster and steak. I'm like, what? What? I've never heard of that. Never heard of it. I've heard, freeze-dried meat and stuff like that, but not like freeze-dried lobster tail. Oh, I think it was lobster tail is what she said. I was like, wow, that's interesting. Never heard of that, but all right.
I'm going to find out where they have it. I may order. I mean, it could be a treat.
It could be. There's I got the link on the one of the Zello channels. I'll send it over to you. Probably. It probably does. Tastes awful. So yeah, man. So I finished up that. It's called 3 to 7 Project. It's a guy by Chad Wright. He's SEAL team guy. I think he finished up a few years back, got out of the teams. So now he's kind of, he's doing what a lot of these guys do, right? They come up and they're skilled at, really preparedness, right? That's what they do. That's kind of their MO is,
right.
How do I prepare for a mission set? How do I get ready for whatever scenario? Hiking in the Alpines, hiking in wherever, arms training. How do you what do you carry in your car, etc. This particular one was called the basic course. And essentially it was 3 days in the Smoky Mountains. So we had a link up spot. There's 8 of us. You had to go through like an application process before and like answer all these questions. And then out of the pool of people, they selected eight folks. And I was one of the eight to go. So,
what kind of questions? Hang on. Like, are you crazy? Are you nuts?
Yeah.
What do you want to learn here?
Yeah. I think they were kind of basic questions. I can't remember them, what they were off the top of my head, but it was kind of like, process. It was an application process. And it was kind of like, they were trying to size you up. Like, how are you going to respond?
Yeah.
Different backgrounds, where you coming from, why are you
going to die on us?
Yeah. How are you going to pass out 10 feet into this trip? I think they ask about your health status and all that stuff like that to make sure you're good. Cause it's strenuous. Smoky Mountains is no joke. So we had a link up, so fortunately I got in, we had a link up spot. We had like a Zoom call the week prior, and there's a whole pack out list, right? It was like, here, bring all these things. If you don't have these things, we'll have these type bags. So they ran with Kelty. If you know Kelty bags, they made great stuff, like phenomenal bags. The 85 liter is what we had. But we ended up deciding, so we get there, we do the link up spot, and then essentially he goes into full military mode, right? Kind of like, going back into kind of boot camp, right? Like, get this done. It's got to be done this time. Go, go, go. Everything's like moving with urgency. So like I anticipated that. There's a lot of folks that I think there's 2 other people that were current or prior military. The rest weren't. So they were all like trying to like move around. They were like very distraught. Like they were out of it. So, so we had to
never experienced basic training of any type. That's a whole nother world.
It's a shocker, right? Like it shocks you quick. So he got in that mode, and we got, a lead was appointed, 2 squad leaders. I ended up becoming a squad leader.
Of course you would.
I mean, I didn't even ask for it. I didn't even want to do it.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, we got this. And, we started going through the communication game, but essentially they laid everything out. Like we talked about the ABCs of packing, right? Accessibility, balance, and compression, right? Like, how do we get everything nice and tight? Do you have your snacks on the pouches on the outside? So we got everything issued out, and we had to just load our gear in.
So wait, did y'all pack your bag together? Y'all were packing? Okay.
So yeah, we brought stuff. Like I brought a bunch of stuff, but then we went through the whole, like, here's how to go do this. Everybody's going to be uniform. So we all kind of stripped our stuff, all of our gear out. I ended up using his bag, the Kelty bag, because it was nice. I was like, I really like this bag. We put in a contractor black plastic bag, because it rained every day there, man. Like the entire 3 days, it rained every day. We just hiked wet. I'll tell those stories, but so we get everything issued out. We get our meals, some oatmeal packets, snacks. A lot of folks brought stuff, our sleeping bag, and then we ended up doing a buddy system. So I got buddied up with this other dude, and we're like, hey, are we going to go tent or are we going to go tarp? And we're just going to sleep on our big Agnes kind of mattress. And with our sleeping bags, and we're like, hey, let's do the tarp, man. I'm like, I've always slept in a tent. I've never just tarped it and just slept out in the wilderness with stuff crawling on you. So I'm like, let's just do it. So we end up doing that. We end up buddying up. We step off. Literally, man, like this is all preparation. We stepped off, and the SEAL team guy turns around. He's like, everybody got water? Half the team didn't even have water. I'm like, go back, get water. So we got dressed down for that one right away. They're like, your lead and your squad leaders, you guys just failed. Like your team is not ready. And I'm like, ooh, yep. You are correct. You are correct.
That's where you go, sir, you didn't tell us to get water.
Yeah. You didn't tell us exactly to get water and where.
Yeah.
But yeah, once we got that squared away, then it was just trying to like learn team dynamics, right? Like none of us knew each other. Like we were all we had different folks. They were from all over the country. We had folks from Louisiana, Texas, up in the Northeast, Midwest, Southeast. I mean, we were all over the place. Prior service, not prior service. But then when you just started getting team dynamics, and we just went out on the march, and he was the only one that knew where we were going. Like we had no idea where we were going. It was like, we're going to go to this trail. We're going to do these things. And you get there when you get there. Right. That's it. You just stay in the fight. We didn't measure time. We didn't measure miles. We didn't measure it's just, you go until the job's done. So that was the whole mission, right? Like you go until the job's finished, which is, it's a very powerful message. Step off on the trail. We get going after we sent half the other crew to get back and get water. So we get back on trail, start humping it into the Smokies, right? Like, I mean, it's no joke. The elevation there it's a doozy. And we move through streams. We traverse through a couple different mountains. So we climbed up one, went over. We ended up refilling water at a stream. We had our water filters, right? We had everybody was using Sawyer water filters there, which were great. They came in handy, and then of course iodine tablets or iodine drops. Like that was one that we had to go with as well. But yeah, we started like everybody just started dragging because everybody was like focused on just go going, and they're amped up, go going. But you're pushing that pace and you just start seeing folks kind of like falling out, right? They're getting tired. We're not taking breaks with pack off, break with pack on. We're not taking breaks quick enough to eat and recharge, eat granola, eat tuna. So folks just started falling off, and we were just getting slower and slower and slower. So we just kind of marched. I think we stepped off about noon on Friday, and we didn't get to camp. It was probably 1 a.m. in the morning. Before we got into camp, 1:30 in the morning, we were smoked. I mean, tired, and that our camp's not even set up. Like we got to like set the camp. We lit a fire. It was raining. We were out there hiking, like up on the mountain with our headlamps on. We had to get all of our wet gear on because it was starting to come down on us. And you just went. I mean, we just had to keep going and going. But we got everything set up.
The people that peeled off, did they catch up?
No, we just had to wait for them. Like we just had to like
kill them.
Yeah, we pushed them. They fell off the mountain. No, we just had to start working that. Where like, how do we? Have you ever read the book The Goal? It talks a lot about process improvement, but it was I think these kids in the Boy Scouts, and they're like, why do we always having like separation between the group? And they ended up figuring out like they were putting one of the slowest kids right in the middle. So like the faster kids would pull away, the slow kid would slow everybody down, and they just get this wider and wider chasm between them. So like, well, we got to like put the slowest person up front. So that's what we ended up doing. So we put the slowest person up front. They were running point with a navigator. We had two folks that were navigators, a primary and a secondary. They had the map, the compass, all that fun jazz. And we all got briefed on all that stuff before we stepped off. But dude, that's what took us so long. I mean, they were slow. So we're like, well, we got to drop their pack. We got to take some of their gear. And we just kept going, but we got in, it was probably 1:30 in the morning, and we were tired, like real tired.
You just set up and like a tarp and just sleep then, don't you?
Yeah, we set up a tarp.
I mean, you can't change clothes or anything like that and get dry.
No. I mean, we had your rain gear on. I mean, I had my Gore-Tex stuff. So like I was dry underneath. But yeah, we got all that set up, and then we were going to make food, right? We got a fire going. We were, learning how to make fire in the rain coming down, and like, how do we get that stuff set up? Got that going. Boiled some water for our meals. Everybody chowed. And then we all ended up just sitting around the fire, kind of like talking about who we are, where we're from. Cause it's essentially when we got there, it was like, you know how to, right? Military boot camp. It's like, hey, how's it going? All right, good. You're doing this. All right, we're stepping off. Let's go. Like, we can talk later. Right now, we're going to be on point and be on mission. So we get set in, and we all kind of talk about folk. We all kind of learn about these folks and where they're from and why they're doing this and what they're trying to accomplish while they're out here. And they're taking time out of their day, and or they're actually taking time out of like 3 or 4 days to be out there and sleep in the woods. And and it was just different stories, man. And I wrote a big piece on it, and I'll read it. It's pretty lengthy. I mean, I could probably read it in about 5 minutes, but I'll read it towards the end here.
So let me ask a question. Is there any instruction going on at this time, or not really?
Yeah. There's instruction. We do breaks on instructions on navigation, although that was like a quick and dirty method. We got folks that were teaching on like, hey, here's water filtration. Here's how to use your iodine. You put 5 drops per 750 milliliters. Like some of the stuff, like some of us already knew, but it was like, it was just good, like good instruction and like good practice. Right. And how to set camps, how to, do your different knots, and get everything set up there. So yeah, I mean, it was definitely interesting. And just some of it was a good refresher. Some of it was like a little bit new. Definitely the hiking with a loaded pack on, like going traversing up and down and over stumps and over rocks. And some of that stuff is, I mean, it's no joke. You fall, you're in a world of hurt. I mean, if you're even alive, like it's no joke.
Hey, let's take a quick break.
Are you a prepper or homesteader looking to connect with like-minded people in your area? Looking to start your own preparedness group? Already have a group? Well, look no further than PrepperNet. PrepperNet is dedicated to personal responsibility, individual freedoms, and being self-reliant. PrepperNet has monthly meetings in over 100 cities where you can meet and learn with like-minded people in your area. PrepperNet, where preppers unite. Find us online at preppernet.com.
So it's 2:00 in the morning. Y'all probably hit the bed around 2.
Yeah, no, about 3. I think we all crashed at about 3.
So tired you probably fell asleep pretty quickly, but
Yeah. Well, no, we were all juiced up. Like we were all like, because you're animated and so adrenaline fueled from pushing it. I ended up taking off my socks. I didn't double layer socks. Like never. If anybody's listening, folks listening, like if you're gonna do a hike like that, double layer socks. Absolutely, put your 2 wools on and go. Or some folks did athletic socks with the wools over it. Whatever works. But the back of my heels were like, I gash, silver dollar size on both. So I'm like, this is not going to be a good day for me tomorrow at all.
Do you have any moleskin or anything like that?
I didn't. One of the other guys did, thankfully. But yeah, I was in a world of hurt. I was taking my sock off and like skin was coming with it. I'm like, this is not going to be good. So of course I wake up the next morning, and we're we got to break down camp, do all that stuff. And I'm trying to like get my feet right because they're destroyed. I'm putting on moleskin, trying to get like extra layer of socks now on. And this is trying to slip those boots on. And it just hurts. Nobody's moving right. Your knees are sore. Your hips are sore. Surprisingly, my back was completely fine, despite holding all that weight.
Was that like 6 Advils?
Yeah, we took a couple Advils. Everybody was popping a couple Advils, right? Some Ranger candy, I think is what they call it, Ranger candy.
Uh-huh.
Pop a little bit of that, like you're all right, and just keep going. But then we got back on trail. We read some scripture in the morning, and then he like posed a question, and we had about 30 minutes of just kind of quiet time, right? We just different questions about life, like kind of people around you that helped you along the way. Like what are some of these? Who are these people, and kind of what are you taking away from this quiet time? So it was cool. We all just kind of stepped off separately and sat down out in the woods, like nobody's around, and just kind of like got to think, man, it was super cool. It's like super refreshing. And we got back on trail. Of course, we went back to like, everybody's got to go. You got to go do stuff, get on. Our lead got fired. Actually the one lead got fired the first day. Our second lead got fired the next morning. And me and the other guy were still squad leads, but we had our lead that was now the new person stepped in. So our third lead now. And I think they were getting it like, hey, you got to communicate down the chain. You got to like let folks know what's going on. So there's definitely some lessons there on like communicating, delegating, and spreading things out, like to letting your squad leaders disseminate information and pull the troops together, be the hammers. So yeah, we stepped back off on the trail. It was rush again. Again, nobody knew where we were going. Like, where are we going? But folks started slowing down, gassing out. We were missing checkpoints for eating again. Fuel, like on those things, fuel matters, right? Like eating matters, drinking water, hydrating. It is so, yeah, like you get sloppy quick when you're not taking care of your body. And people's feet were a little bit sore. Mine were the worst. Mine were pretty banged up, but mentally I was good. Like mentally, it doesn't matter. Like I'll keep going as long as it takes. Like whatever. Like eventually this is going to end in 3 days. It won't matter. Like I'm just going to keep going. So we ended up getting. We ended up being like super slow. So I think we were supposed to be at a further checkpoint. We didn't make it. So the weather was still starting to come down. So we ended up closing out earlier that day, maybe about, I'd say probably like 7 p.m. We got in 8 o'clock.
So it's dark every time you get in the camp.
It is dark. Yeah. And we got the camp set up again. We had to do that in dark, in the rain, again, with our headlamps on and everything. And we had to do the same setup. First night he helped us out, like kind of showed us, here's what to do. All right, you do this. And then the second night it's on you guys, like figure it out. So we all figured it out, banded together and got things done. I got it started cooling off because we were sleeping 5,200 feet up in the mountain. Like we slept on the ridgeline. So it was cold, it was windy. And I started sweating through stuff, right? So I'm already a bad sign, right? Like that's a bad sign.
Yep.
So I had to strip things down, put on dryer shirt. And I was just cold, super cold. So I had to jump in the sleeping bag and try to warm up. And I didn't know if it was because I was just juiced up from the adrenaline of pushing through the pain. Right. But I was a little bit cold as well. But
so were you snuggling with someone?
Yeah. I spooning. Mountaintop spooning. But yeah, got that done. Got everything situated. I mean, we did after action reports and kind of what we did and did well, didn't do well. Our communication was really, really bad. Things just broke down pretty quickly, mostly because we weren't staying hydrated and we weren't eating frequently enough. I mean, the rule of thumb was you need to be hydrating as you go.
Right.
And then every hour you should be consuming 300 to 500 calories. Period. You must consume that all because you're burning so much calories. And it's like Smoky Mountains. So it's the fog's rolling in, you can't see the camp. It's rain. It was super cool. I mean, it was a great experience. And then we woke up the next morning and then we got posed another kind of thoughtful question, read a little scripture. And the goal, we all stepped off in 1 minute increments with that question. And I think it was, I'll have to remember what the question was. It talked about, one thing, what is something that you learned here on the mountain that you can take back with you and apply back down the mountain. And I think he asked 2 other questions and you can kind of pick which one you want to think about. And we stepped off in 1 minute increments on top of the Smoky Mountains, 5,200 feet above sea level, walking this ridgeline solo, all by ourselves. We just walked and we did it for about 45 minutes or so.
Okay.
Epic, man. So awesome. Just being able to just you can't hear anything. You hear the wind, you hear some birds occasionally, but you're up top. You can see all around you. I mean, it's cool.
Was that the AT? Was that the Appalachian Trail?
It was part of the AT. Yep. We were on part of it. Yep.
Okay. Sound like that particular.
But it was pretty sweet, man. And we ended up roughing it all the way back, all beat up. I had to redo my feet again. Then I had to go to athletic tape on top of the moleskin, whatever I could do to get padding in. I tweaked my hip, my knee. I'm oh man, my body was just starting to break down, but I'm go. Just keep going. And then we ended up having to pull 2 people, pretty much strip their entire gear. We all had to take away all their gear. And spread it out amongst the rest of the folks. So they were pretty much walking with an empty pack or a pack with just clothes in it. So it made it heavier, for everybody else. But yeah, that's why physical fitness is so important, man. So important.
What was the average age? I mean, what was the oldest person there?
The oldest guy was, I think one guy was out there for his 60th birthday. That was a birthday gift to himself. And then the other guy was 60. I think he said he was 66.
That's way older than that's insane. And they were in probably good top physical condition like me.
Yeah. No, they were good. I mean, they were good. The dude at 60, dude was a freaking animal. He just went. I mean, he was beat up. You knew that, but he just doesn't matter. Just gonna keep going. Just gonna keep going. But yeah, man, it was awesome experience. Folks that get out there, particularly in the preparedness community, and they're oh, I just want to, I'm just gonna backwoods it. I'm it's a hard life, man. That is a hard life.
How many miles did you cover? Do you know?
And nobody knows.
Oh,
We
you
didn't
don't even
track it.
know.
Nobody knows that we didn't do time, and we just know our check-in when we stepped off, when we stepped on, but we weren't timing it. We didn't do elevation changes. Didn't even do mileage.
Yes, everybody's going to bug out when the crap hits the fan. They're going to get about 4 miles and go, "This sucks."
Where's the Hilton? Where's the Hilton?
This sucks.
It will test you, man. But I think it's a mental game, because there's days where, like, there were moments where you're just like, dude, this sucks. Like, especially when you're trekking up a hill, you're like, oh, I think we're at the top. No, we're not. Like, oh, wait, no, I think we're at the top. No, we're still not there. We still got a long way to go.
I think something that surprises people, because I'm from the mountains. I'm from up in that area. You went probably right by, I mean, not too far from where I used to live, but people understand going up is hard. Going down's hard too.
That was worse on my knees, like way worse on the front of your knees.
And your thighs, it's just insane.
And it's all that weight, right? You're rucking it out with a 50, 60 pound pack on, like it beats you down fast.
And you can slide and get hurt worse going down than going up.
Yep. That's where a lot of the slip and falls were happening while we were going down.
Yes.
Because it was rainy and there's leaves all over. They're slick. It's muddy. Like, you just.
See, you could tell I've already been through that before. At least it sounds like it, right? Okay, maybe not.
But man, it was definitely an experience. You learn a lot about, the outdoors, bushcraft.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, definitely a lot of preparedness stuff, right? Tons of preparedness stuff. But that life is just, man, like, I don't know how people did it 100 years ago, man. Like, I really don't. Like, it's amazing.
But you did it during the rain, which, I mean, that did multiply some issues.
It did. It got, there's some dicey areas. And then, like, we have to do some stream crossings too. And it wasn't like, because of the rain, the stream was really starting to flow. Like, It wasn't like it was just kind of the trickle. Like, it was a nice little flow, and you got to be careful there too. If your foot gets stuck, and it could be a bad day for you there as well.
Yeah, that does. And did you get paid, or did you have to pay for that?
Dude, I paid to go there.
Wow.
I ended up paying. We won't talk about the price tag. I don't want to talk about that.
Okay.
But yeah, like, it was definitely a worthwhile experience.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I wrote this thing, and I'll just kind of give you the cliff notes on it. And I was trying to, like, bring this whole spiritual kind of, let me find it here real quick. And just some, like, key things that I wanted to leave folks with on life lessons from the Great Smoky Mountains. First thing was like, fuel matters. Like, we talked a little bit about it, right? Like, what you consume, who you surround yourself with, what you let in your head. Like, there's folks there that, like, not just like the fuel that you eat, but like the stuff you read, the things you consume, all that stuff mattered. I mean, you could see some folks there that were, like, getting inside themselves, like they started going inside. Not a good spot to be, right? Because you start losing what's going on around you, and you become a crappy team player. You're just going to, like, self-preservation mode. But, like, those folks that, like, started channeling in and, like, just going inside, we had to, like, snap them out of it and try to help them out. And those are the folks we had to, like, take stuff away from them eventually.
So would you say, just quick question, what percentage of it was mindset? What percentage of it was physical conditioning and skills? Is that possible to break that down like that?
Yeah. Like, I think skill set, you pick that up there. I mean, 5% skill, right? I mean, it wasn't.
You needed, for what you're doing,
you didn't need.
They were teaching you.
Yeah, they were teaching us along the way. So there was instruction there the entire time. So the skill, I mean, you could be 0 to 5%. Your physical fitness, I mean, that weighed in, right? Like, it weighed in, like, I'd say 20% maybe. And the rest of it was where your head was at. Like,
wow.
You just needed to be willing to just keep going. I mean, even when it sucked. And then, like, when it hurt, right? Like, especially when you woke up, like, I woke up in the morning, man, like I was having a hard time walking, like, just putting my boots on awful. Like all I wanted to do is like get on trail. Cause once you start going, like this is how your body works, right? The blood starts flowing. You start feeling a lot better, right? It starts activating healing aspects throughout your body. So you start just feeling a lot better. You don't hurt as much. Your feet don't hurt as much. But you got to get that blood pumping through your body. So like that first 20 minutes though, oh dude, it was awful. But then after that 20 minutes, then you're like, all right, I got a little lather, sweat. I'm like, I'm good. Like, I just got to keep going.
So for what you did, I mean, I understand skills were very low because it was teaching, but I would have to say though, if it was real world and you didn't have your food supply, you weren't as packed as you were, skills would be a bigger part for sure. We understand that. But the mindset, I mean, the military is all about mindset. I mean, it really is. They teach you the skills, but a lot of times when you're doing difficult tasks in a high pressure situation, we literally either memorized the checklist in our head, but most of the time we had like laminated cards to check. I mean, because people's lives would be on, and so you'd go through and you would learn each one, because when you get fatigued and you're tired and you're nervous and your adrenaline's going, I tell you what, people forget sometimes even how to tie their shoe during conditions like that.
Yep.
The most basic skills. And that's why you have a checklist. And I don't know, did you have checklists when you were, I mean,
in military?
Yeah.
Oh no, we had like volumes of like publications. It was, and those things, of course, it was, if you did this, here's your checklist. If you did that, here's your checklist. Like it was, and there was multiple volumes, I think, different publications. I mean, they were 600-700 pages long. I mean, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then those reference other publications, which had other checklists. You know how it is, man. Like it's just, it's forms everywhere. That's all you got in the military.
So, and then if you're a Ranger or SEAL, I mean, that is just taught over and over and over. So the checklists are like laid in your head, like basically like tying your shoe kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so instilled that when the pressure comes and the fatigue's there, you can still respond, right? As you normally would if you were, sleeping at the Holiday Inn Express the night before, right? You're just dialed in all the time. Doesn't matter what the conditions are, you're still going to get the job done.
And that's why reading some of these stories too, and these books, and you can go through and you can start to understand, wow, man. I mean, like what I'm not sure what you're going to read, but if you get down into the mental aspect of it, you're like, wow, okay, it helps you and your mindset to be prepared for things like that. If that's possible, sometimes it's not even possible.
Yep. Yeah, man. That mindset was critical, but I think that and I'm giving you the Cliff Notes. I can send you the whole article, man. It's pretty lengthy, but fuel matters. Like what you consume is incredibly important, and the fuel provides a focus, which provides firepower. Relationships was number 2. Like your relationships, the people that you surround yourself with matters, and your community matters, right? Like we talk about mutual, communities, like mutual assistance groups, communities, people that you surround yourself with to make you better, to get you to raise your game. That stuff matters, right? They're either going to be an albatross around your neck, or they're going to be somebody that kind of lifts you up. Choosing those members in your team is be wise in those choices, because they can make.
And you have people to pull you down too, because 100%. You're taking their weight and some of their load. Okay.
Yep. I mean, part of that's being a good team player, right? You're going to have to do that.
I'm not a good team player sometimes.
I mean, and it wouldn't, like in that situation, right? It was 3 straight days, but eventually their physical aspect, they would get used to it, right? They would, and then we just add more weight to it, and then they would have been fine. The other one was like everyone has a mountain to climb, right? Like we're all, like I talked to some of the folks there. Some folks are there, like they had their father had passed away and they just wanted to unplug. Some of them had like a life-threatening diagnosis and they didn't know what was going to happen. So they're just going to push through. Some of them had trauma. Some of them were on their birthday, their 60th birthday party. And like for me, it was just like, the Misogi, right? We talk about Michael Easter, the Comfort Crisis book. And for me, I was like, dude, I just want to I want to push it. Like, let's see how much I can push this thing and like, just keep going. And mostly I did it because I'm like 2022, like with all the weird stuff that was going on, I just felt like I kind of like slacked. So I was like, dude, I got to get coming in 2023, dude. I just want to be going gangbusters.
You enjoy pain, don't you?
I do. It's sick and twisted, but just go, man. The fourth one is there's no finish line. It's like, just, you got to keep grinding. Like no matter what it is. You talk about preparedness. I mean, you're never prepared enough. Like I don't care who you are or how good. Like I would chat with these guys. We were I was chatting with some buddies over the weekend, and we're like, yeah, like there's these guys that do preparedness, and they think they have every scenario covered. I'm like, they're full of crap. I'm like, there's no one does. Like it's impossible for every possible scenario to happen. Like every plan is as good as until that first shot is fired, right?
Right.
It's just nobody has that all figured out. There's just, you got to be able to adapt, adjust, overcome, knowing that there's no finish line. You just got to keep pressing forward.
Well, and that's one reason why I try to stress to be in an environment where you can control as many situations as you can.
100%.
Like a bug out retreat.
Yep.
Now you can't control people coming on. You have to deal with that, but you have your food, water. I mean, everything is as much as you can control it, because you got time now to plan it. And then, I mean, you want your variables to be things that are like people wandering in or being attacked, or, someone in your group stealing. I mean, that's not difficult. Like, I mean, gosh, can you imagine having to walk to Miami, Florida, where where my retreat is? I mean, that would be, I mean, I would die before I got into North Carolina. And South Carolina is probably, I don't know, 10 miles away with my bag of like 60 pounds, which is now probably about 40 now. Still, how many pounds did you have? Do you know roughly?
I'd say like 50, like give 50? Or take, plus minus 5. I think it was going to be somewhere around there. It was heavy. I mean, it definitely weighed you down. But I think the last, what was the last? Yeah, the last one here was just like clearing. I said clear the mechanism, right? Being able to just unplug, no distractions, no noise, no people around, just kind of you walking on that ridge and just being in the moment and thinking things through, unpacking what happened. The 3 questions there are 4 questions. It was what are the things the mountains have shown you? What are 1 or 2 things to implement once you're back home? Who have been my mentors and my cloud of witnesses? And what is the race I am running, and what is holding me back from running that race? So some pretty deep, meaty questions. But yeah, I mean, it was awesome. I mean, I wouldn't have traded it for anything. I'm like, I'm already going to do some other stuff soon. I got actually, now that we went through the basic, I got an invite to do like an alpine excursion in like Salt Lake City, Utah, somewhere out there.
Okay.
And then there's another one it's literally on like class 4, class 5 rapids for like a 5 or 6 day period of time. And you're like, that's your excursion. You're doing that stuff, but it's crazy expensive, dude. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good.
The advanced one, the pro, they call it pro advance, is when you take your wife and kids.
Oh yeah. That's it. That would be advanced. Like, hey, we're going to hit class 5 rapids with a couple of kids, and let's see how this works out.
Can you imagine?
No.
I mean, you were just taking care of you and I guess maybe your partner and your squad. But when you have a wife and kids and y'all are trying to bug out,
it's a different element.
That is, I couldn't imagine anything worse. That's why pre-planning, because, bugging out sounds great and having a bug out bag sounds great, but actually doing it is going to be hell.
Mm-hmm. If other folks with you, right? Like me
Yes.
and myself, like I can move fast, like I can go and just I keep going. But when you get other folks involved, you got to like be more attentive to, the slow person moving in the group, kind of like what we were doing before. All right, I got to take stuff away from them. They got to put them in front. Like I got to take a little bit more breaks. Like there's different things that you gotta factor in.
That kind of reminds me. On Saturday, my wife and my daughter and some of her friends went to a college just to check out the college.
Mm-hmm.
It's 3 hours away, and I just so happened they left it. Like I'm like, I wonder where they are, and I brought them up on like the Fine Friends.
Yeah,
and 25 minutes into their trip, they're already pulled off the side of the road at a rest stop or at a gas station because someone had to pee. I'm like, that 25
right.
minutes. There just seems something wrong with that. I give them a hard time about it too. And the girl said, well, I forgot to pee. But anyway, just little things would probably just set you off. I mean,
yeah. Yeah.
Did you want to kill someone or leave some of the people behind?
No, I mean, there wasn't anybody there. I mean, there's, I think one person that was like, I'm like, dude, like get on with it, man. Like stop looking. You're the slowest person here. Like just go. Like, I'm hurting. I'm bleeding like in the back of my heels. I'm like, I didn't complain about it. Didn't even say anything. I just address it, move on. Like, let's go.
Has your skin healed yet?
It's fully healed. Like it took me a week. Like when I got back, it took a full week before and that was just working with.
Okay.
I only wore flip-flops for like a full week. I mean, I didn't wear any socks, nothing. I
got to ask though, did you come home and go, honey, I need your help? And did you kind of mope around the house and let her take care of you a little bit?
She didn't take care of me at all. I think I played that out for about a day, and then it was like, all right, dude, you can shuffle on over to the kitchen, get your own stuff.
I need some water. Okay, so you went through your questions, and you got your 5 things. What else from the trip?
I think it was it, and then we had a debrief afterwards, right? And we all kind of, we all there's a place we all went out and grabbed some food where everybody got a beer. Like we were all like, we need to eat. Like I want to eat something of substance right now. So like I'm like, I want the biggest, greasiest bacon cheeseburger known to man. Like pop it down with some sweet potato fries. I am good to go. And give me and a beer. I'm like, I'll be great. And then I was so beat up, and we got back. So it was like later at night. And I'm like, I was going to just drive back home, but it was like 4.5 hour drive or so. I'm like, I'm just going to find a hotel and stay in it. So I just booked a room, and then ended up just racking out, getting up the next morning and, putting my gear on or putting my gear in the truck and driving back home.
That's when you said, I like this kind of bugging out better.
Yeah. The bugging out where you just go to a hotel and there's a bed there. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a tough, I mean, yeah, like I hear guys talk about that. I'll just do this and I'll bug out and live off grid. I'm like, all right, dude.
See, I've heard of people doing this. When I went to my survival training school, it was nowhere near as bad as what you're saying. It just wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we went out, we were all in base camp and learning for days, I guess like 4 days. And in 3 days, you go off, you navigate to an area that you're assigned to, and you live there for 3 days by yourself. And, no one goes crazy for 3 days by themselves. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Maybe 7, maybe 10 or 20, but it was, and you're supposed to put all your skills. They were going to come by and check on your shelter, and you were being judged to the things you were doing. And the biggest thing was, we weren't hiking like you were. I think my hike was a little like 2.5 miles.
Okay.
It wasn't bad. And some hiked up to 4 miles, we think, is, once we started talking about it. But you were being judged, and so you're doing things, doing them right. There's no pressure that you're going to die.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? This is going to be over in 3 days. and it's just nowhere near what you went through there. Not that you think you were going to die, but
yeah,
I bet some of them thought they were going to die.
some of them did. Like, yeah, he ended up. So it was pretty cool. We got to the point on the morning of the third day. Like, this is after we stepped off, and everybody's ready to get back. Like we are marching back, and we're going to have to go down the mountain, go back up another one, come back down, go up a smaller one, and then we're back at. And this is going to be a long day. So he drew this. It was a small circle, a slightly larger circle, and so he had like the bullseye here and another circle just outside. So he said on the outside, he's like, that's your comfort zone. He's like, in the middle circle, that's your growth zone. Like you're not like in comfort zone, but you're not in this middle circle where you're panicking. You're like freaking out right now. So he's like, you're panicking, you're shutting down, you're not doing anything. That's going to be good for the team. And he's like, on the outside, your comfort zone, you should be helping these people that are panicking. So they got around. He's like, everybody come pulled in. He drew it out, and he's like, now take a rock or a stick and like put where you are right now. And we had folks like hour and a half in on our last day they're already in panic mode. Like we had two of them that were like freaking out. And I'm like, I was in growth mode. I was like, I'm good. I'm in Zen mode. Like, I just want to keep my body moving. But we had a couple other guys that were just like, this is kind of easy. Like, I got this down. So they ended up getting more of the other people's stuff. So we stripped their bag down and went to the guys that were in the comfort zone to kind of stretch them and get them a little bit more, carry more of the weight, carry more of the load. So that's what they ended up doing. And then we got everything kind of balanced out and just went from there and just kept going and going and going. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty cool like diagram. I mean, it's a diagram, but it was a picture on the dirt, right? This is what was drawn just to give a good context of like, where are people physically and mentally at right now?
So if I was just traveling by myself, I guess it depends on the situation, but you don't want to travel so fast that you're sweating. You want to keep that balance if you can. I mean, especially in the cold. I mean, if you start sweating in the cold, that's going to kill you.
Yep.
Plain and simple. It's going to end up killing you. But, so you guys were already wet. So you just kind of had to mind, okay, we can't even judge our sweat at this point.
Yeah. You're already wet. And then we just had to strip our base layer off. Like when we got to camp, got our tarp set up, and then we just kind of stripped.
Did you have the right clothing and the equipment? You think?
Yeah. So that's a part like on the skill set, right? Like they give you a whole checklist, like absolutely no cotton. You will not wear cotton, anything like at all. We had people showing up with cotton stuff. I'm like, dude, you didn't follow instructions, right? Like that's unsat. They mentioned, like a little hat, a boonie cover of some sort, something of that nature to keep the sun out. They mentioned, rain pants, Gore-Tex, rain jackets, different layers with, a down jacket as well. Wool socks, boots that are waterproof because you're going to be going through a lot of water. You get rained on. But yeah, they kind of checked all that stuff out. So from the skill set standpoint, right, I think they spelled it out for you. Like, bring these things. Like, this is what you need to bring. We're going to have this other stuff.
They made some decisions for you on that.
They made some decisions for you. You didn't have to think that through. And if you didn't have certain things, they had it there for you anyway. And you just got to borrow their stuff. So that was pretty good. But you didn't really have to think too much on some of this stuff. And then they showed you how to use it. Like if you didn't know how to use a soil water filter, that's fine. They went and showed you how to do it. Here's how to use iodine. Here's how to use these stoves, right? And like the two stoves that they have are the exact same two I have. So I'm like, got it down, like good to go. But yeah, like, so some of that stuff was good because those folks, they never did this before, right? That's like their first time doing anything kind of crazy.
How many instructors did you have?
There's two.
Two. Nice. Well, that sounds awesome. So awesome. I just don't think I can handle it.
Yeah, man. Come on in, man. Come on in.
Yeah. That's interesting. I'll watch the movie.
I'll watch The Walking Dead, a couple episodes of The Walking Dead. I got it down.
Yes. Goodness gracious. Well, gosh, I love hearing the story. That was awesome. Sounds like you learned a lot. You tested some gear out. You worked with a team. You figured out your mindset is you're pretty good. You're pretty good at mindset anyway. I don't know if that's your military backing or training, or is it just Uncle Buck? You know what I mean? There's a difference.
It could be both, right? I think the military enhanced it. I mean, I kind of had it already, but played a lot of sports too, right? Like, and just play a lot of athletics, and you're down, and you gotta keep going to try to win.
So this is like our second show on mindset. You think that's important?
100% important, man. Like, it was more important.
We hear a lot about people talking about mindset, but yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. What were you saying?
Yeah, no, like I think it's like it's like the thing. Like, it doesn't really matter all the bells and whistles and the Gucci gear you have. If your mind's not right, it won't matter. If you sink into panic mode when things get tough, dude, like you said before, right? You're gonna forget to tie your shoe. Like, you're not gonna be able to execute things that you've executed probably multiple times before, because your head's scrambled and you're not in the right headspace. Yep.
Hey, thanks for being back. I'm going to close this with a prayer.
Yeah, man. Of course.
And then we, we'll, be in line to do another one next week.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's pray. Gracious Lord, we thank you for the small lessons that you teach us, Lord, through your word. We thank you for challenging us and pushing us, Lord, not only just for the physical, the mental, but also the spiritual side. Lord, we know that you're the King, and Lord, we love you and thank you for all that you've done for us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Hey, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, brother. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for listening to the Prepping Academy podcast. Preppers Unite at www.preppingacademy.com.
Has your data been hacked? Do you feel uneasy about the vulnerability of your personal information online? Were you involved in the Target, LinkedIn, or Microsoft data leaks? Don't know? If not, then pay attention. Join Forrest Garvin from PrepperNet for a free webinar on privacy and security. Gain insights into safe internet browsing, VPNs, crafting online aliases, secure emails, detecting if your data has been hacked, and managing passwords. Secure your spot today for this webinar on privacy and security. It's free. This webinar delves into comprehensive strategies for bolstering your online privacy. We've got you covered, from fortifying your passwords to shielding your financial information and mastering state-of-the-art encryption techniques. We're offering 2 convenient dates to suit your schedule. Reserve your spot now at preppernet.com/privacy. Don't let cyber threats erode your peace of mind any longer. Take the first step toward a safer, more secure online experience by joining us for our free webinar. Remember, knowledge is power when it comes to safeguarding your privacy. Sign up now at preppernet.com/privacy. We'll see you there.